It's book mail time. Thank you to the publishers for sending me these 31 books in June. Starting with Atria, who sent me 5 books. Dead of Summer by Jessa Maxwell is an island-set missing persons mystery thriller. I actually read this one as an ARC and I rather enjoyed it. Departure 37 by Scott Carson is a Cold War espionage sci-fi horror book. Follows the mysterious day where many pilots refuse to fly because they've received calls from their mothers, some of which are dead. One of the Family by Mark Edwards publishes on August 4th, and this is a thriller following a man named Patrick who joins his girlfriend's wealthy family on their luxury vacation in a remote part of Scotland. But when he gets there, he realizes he is being intertwined in a sinister plot. The Final Chapter by C.B. Everett is a thriller following the case of a missing author named Jonathan, whose most recent manuscript surfaces years later, containing clues to his disappearance. It Could Have Been Her by Lisa Jewell is a thriller following a woman who returns a lost dog and finds herself having to confront her own dark past. Thank you, Titan Books, for these 2 books. Monstera by Delilah S. Dawson is a horror novella that publishes on October 13th. I've actually already read this one and really loved it. It follows a woman named Lucy, and she is finally out of the grasp of her controlling grandfather and moves into a new apartment where she gets entangled with a woman who seems to share a similar dark secret. The Red Sacrament by Sarah Hinckley is a historical fiction horror book following a covenant of vampires in 19th century Paris. Thank you, Michael Joseph Books, for this copy of Milk Teeth by Caitlin Starling. This publishes on October 20th. This is a horror book following a vampire who nurses new vampires in their first years, but then something goes terribly wrong. Thank you, Saga Press, for the copy of Maisiewood by Tanana Reevdu. It publishes on September 22nd. It is a historical fiction literary horror generational saga. This follows the grandson of a famous Black actress from the 1920s to the 1940s, who is now a filmmaker who returns to his grandmother's cabin retreat just to find a legacy of her rage born in old Hollywood. Thank you, Bookouture, for sending me a copy of Our Perfect Holiday by Daniel Hurst. This is available on Kindle Unlimited, and this is a psychological thriller following a family that is on vacation at a beautiful French hotel when the past comes back to haunt them. Thank you, Kensington Publishing, for this beautiful special edition of Grey After Dark by Noelle W. Eiley. I've read this. I loved it very much. This is a thriller following an Olympic-level skier who gets abducted in the woods. I received Bantam's quarterly mystery box, and they sent me 6 books, so thank you very much, Bantam Books. And they also sent me this hat. The Henchperson's Guide to Ununionizing by Michael J. Moore is a comedic horror fantasy following a cast of characters that live in this manor that find out that their masters are planning a literal Armageddon. Backstabbers by Eliza Jabor is a Lost in the Woods thriller that follows 3 friends that are trekking through the wilderness when one of them gets injured and they end up at this cabin deep in the woods. They soon start to speculate that the man in this cabin is a serial killer that they've been hearing so much about. I've already read this one. I thought it was quite fun and definitely perfect for your summer reading. Self-Help for Serial Killers by Asia McKay is the sequel to A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage. I absolutely loved A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage, so I was very excited to read this. I have already read it. Unfortunately, I definitely didn't love it as much as the first book, but this follows our serial killer couple, Fox and Hazel, as they are being targeted by some very dangerous people. The Fox and the Devil by Kirsten White is a dark gothic sapphic romance, following the daughter of a vampire hunter who becomes obsessed with an immortal serial killer. Death Times 7 by Anne Perry is the last book in the Daniel Pitt series, which I have not read, and it follows Daniel Pitt as he's investigating 2 different cases: a murder trial in London and the assault on one of his friend's parents. The Only One Who Knows by Lisa M. Matlin is a suspense about a disgraced TV reporter who returns to her hometown to investigate a series of deadly shark attacks. Thank you, St. Martin's Press, for these next 3 books. Okay, I know what this one is, but I love that they did it as a blind date with a book. So cute. It said, read this if you like meet cutes gone wrong, like really, really wrong. Your boyfriend's as unreliable as your narrator, bringing him to meet your family. Murder edition. If you guys can't guess what it is, I'm going to open it anyway. It is Man of My Dreams by Olivia Worley. This follows an author named Ivy, and she meets a man who is identical to the main character in her upcoming book. Literally everything's the same. Is this man too good to be true? I've read this one. I absolutely loved it. It was completely ridiculous, but definitely worth checking out. This one I've also read. Marion by Leah Rowan is a feminist retelling of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. But in this version, Marion survives Norman and becomes a serial killer herself. I Am the Monster Under My Bed by Emily Zinnikas publishes on September 15th, and this is a horror thriller following a woman named Willa, and in her childhood there was an invisible entity that lived under her bed. Now she's an adult and some teenagers have been killed. Willa walked free, but everyone thinks she did it, and so she decides maybe it's time to finally become the villain they all believe her her to be. Thank you, Sourcebooks, for these 3 books. It's Not What You Think by Claire McIntosh publishes on September 22nd in the US. I actually bought myself a copy while I was on vacation in the UK because I just couldn't wait for it. This is a thriller following a woman who is going to confront her boyfriend because she thinks he's cheating on her. But it turns out that she can't confront him because he's dead. And soon she finds out she doesn't know him nearly as well as she thought she did. I really enjoyed this, and it was definitely not what I thought it would be. It's so weird because I was just comparing the weight of these 2 books. They're the same book, same story, but this one just weighs a lot less. The Sins of Summer Daughters by Lo Patrick is a Southern suspense that publishes on July 14th. This follows a woman whose granddaughter is accused of murder, and now she must confront the long-buried secrets of a summer long past. The Whisper by Chelsea Iverson publishes on July 28th, and this is a mystery horror thriller that follows 4 friends who learn to hear the whispers of the trees and yield the magic within their roots. But then one day their friend Quinn goes missing, and the magic went silent. It's been 15 years, and the girls finally decide it's time to get to the bottom of what happened to Quinn. Thank you, Penguin Random House, for these 2 books. Names Have Been Changed by Yume Balasingham Chow follows a con woman who decides to start a confessional podcast about her life on the run. You First by Caroline Kepnes is the 5th book in the You series, but this is a prequel telling the origin story of the serial killer Joe Goldberg. Wisdom Corner by David Heska Wanabli Wyden publishes on July 9th, and this is an indigenous thriller following Virgil Wounded Horse, and he wants to leave his past of being a vigilante in the past. But when a prominent figure from his reservation is murdered, he is forced to return to the job. Thank you, Poison Pen Press, for these next 5 books. Okay, peep the box. It's amazing. It's got koozies, it's got essential oils, it's got pins. This is pretty cool. I'm stoked about this. Inside the box was these 4 books. Cross My Heart, I Hope You Die by Mallory Arnold publishes on June 14th, and this is a horror thriller following a woman who discovers that her boyfriend is cheating on her, decides she's going to get some harmless payback, takes him to this remote cabin to do so, and things go horribly wrong. Bad Intentions by Ileana Zander is a thriller that publishes on August 25th, and this follows a woman who has to go back to her hometown and care for her aging grandmother, only to uncover some dark family secrets and get entangled in a new crime that echoes a tragedy of the past. They've actually already sent me a copy of this one. I've been meaning to read it. I'm going to. You Girls Play Nice by Katie Eldon follows a group of friends who have come up with hypothetical revenge plots for the man who has murdered their friends. But then this man dies in a way that echoes one of these exact revenge plots. Did one of the girls do it, or does somebody know what they've been up to? Missing Molly by Natalie Borelli publishes on October 20th, and this is a thriller that follows Rachel, and she discovers that there is a new true crime podcast about a missing 12-year-old girl named Molly from many years ago. Now, Rachel knows exactly what happened to Molly because she is Molly. And all those years ago, her family was unalived and she was the sole survivor. And when the story goes viral, new evidence proves what she has always known, that the wrong person was convicted. The last book from Poison Pen Press and the last book of this haul is The Disaster Gay Detective Agency by Lev A.C. Rawson. This follows a group of queer friends who have witnessed a murder and now are going to get to the bottom of what happened. Thank you again to the publishers who sent me these books. I'm forever grateful, and let me know in the comments which of these books sounds the most interesting to you.